However, he starts this race on row 4 of the grid. In front of him, in 6th position, Norbert Michelitz, and our world champion, our double world champion, and our world championship points leader, Jose Maria Lopez. Pachito had a good run through qualifying. Is this on the outlap? Oh, lost a mirror. How on earth has he done that? Not walls to hit here, it's not a street circuit. It has been reinstated, as you see there on the door, or it hasn't. It's probably been picked up by a marshal somewhere, but a new mirror has been fitted to his car. Pachito in fine form this weekend. The Citroen was slow. First free practice, the best of the Citroens was, where are we? Ivan Muller, 12th place, 12th to 17th, 6 spots. You found all 5 Citroens, and James Thompson's Chevrolet. In the second free practice, best of the Citroens was Ivan Muller in 7th, and in qualifying, the best was Jose Maria Lopez in 6th position. So they didn't have great dry setup, they weren't great in mixed conditions, and they weren't fantastic in the wet either. Really, whatever the weather does, this just underlyingly is not the greatest track for the Citroens, although they have won here in the past. So you have to wait and see exactly what the race will bring us. Saw Tom Coronel lining up. Here's Roal Motorsport Chevrolet, 4th on the opening race grid. Pretty happy with the way the car's been going this weekend. Ivan Muller, well, they went the wrong way in the wet weather setup. They were looking for a car that was more pointy around the front end. What they got was one that was more fishtaily around the rear end. And so they'd all sort of drifted off down, trying to induce more rear steer, and found out that, in fact, the rain was doing more than enough of that, thank you very much. And so they backed away from that setup. So hopefully they should be a more competitive prospect in the races, because Ivan starting 3rd, Mehdi Banani starting 2nd. Banani, of course, the closest rival to Jose Maria Lopez in terms of championship points. He's also the independent points leader, and the next closest independent car on the grid is Tom Coronel, only in 4th position. James Thompson in 6th is an independent as well. So Banani will try and make a good start, get away from them, and maybe overhaul Thiago Monteiro in the Honda. And Banani looking for his 3rd career World Touring Car victory. But Thiago starting on pole position again. 8 career wins for him. And Thiago, let's hear what he's got to say.
Okay, Thiago, for me it's now anything can happen, so it's good to win. But for me it's clear flicks now. Yeah, I think there are no doubts at the moment. Of course there will be a risk of rain during the race, but we have to start on slicks. We are on pole, we have to go like this.
Well, the other deal is you are not allowed to start on wets unless it has been declared a wet race, and it has not yet by the race director. Slicks it is as the cars get ready to go, led away by the Honda. Entertaining. On board with Tom Chilton, warm-up lap here at Moscow Raceway. Let's hear what Norbert Michelitz has to say from the factory Honda.
Hello everyone, I hope you enjoyed your Sunday morning so far. Exciting races ahead of us. As you can see, it just started to rain. Everyone is prepared for dry conditions from what I saw in front. So it will be a big gamble, especially the first couple of laps. Difficult conditions. We'll try to give you a good show. Enjoy. Bye-bye.
All right, good luck everybody, buckle up. When they get to the grid, they will be cinching those belts just, oh, and it properly is raining. Right, we may have a delayed start now, because when they were on the grid 2 minutes ago, it was a couple of misty spots of water in the air, but out the back of the circuit there, that looked like proper rain, and I wonder whether our race director is going to have to delay the start and declare it a wet race to allow them the option to change onto wets. Now, the teams are getting tyre trolleys ready there, thinking exactly the same. In the pit lane, right where this camera is at the final corner, it's dry. Out the back, it definitely isn't. So what is Mirek going to do? Teams are getting ready with the tyre trolleys. Start will be delayed, that's what we're hearing. Start is delayed, and the race director will declare it a wet race, and that will allow the teams then to fit wet weather tyres. They're all ready, because nobody was expecting this to be a bright, hot and sunny day. Not after what we've had the last few days, and not after the forecast. Cars coming down pit road. So now then, wet track has been declared by the race director, start has been delayed, and it is slicing down with rain. That's Mercedes Arena overlooking corner 3. So, can you only change tyres now in the pit lane? What are the cars on the grid going to do? Let's hear from Nicky Katzberg, the Lada driver.
Yeah, it's really raining, but I think it will only be a short drizzle, but it's definitely wet, dangerous.
Yeah, okay, copy that. So just be safe, have the car ready for next race, of course, but do the best we can.
So how long until we start then? This is the question, because otherwise it's a free tyre change from drivers in the pit lane. Right, so Grégoire de Moustier went in, one of the Volvos, not sure whom, both of the Volvos. So both of the Volvos, and the Volvos have shocking trouble in the rain. They didn't do any testing in wet weather pre-season, and there is no time for testing during the season. Their wet weather testing has been in racing, and they are desperately chasing a setup. What's Yvan Muller got to say?
À mon avis, ça va mouiller beaucoup Clerillon, donc je pense qu'on va pas avoir le chemin des pluies.
All right, nothing they can do, and the guys at the front of the grid are going to have to just get on with this. So we've got 2 races here. We have drivers on the grid, on slicks, on a wet track, praying that there's not another drop of rain. Drivers on wets, starting from the pit lane behind them, praying that the race gets on with it now while the track is still wet. And okay, tyre trolleys on the grid. Okay, all bets are off. So those who came into the pit lane now must be released. So chaos, nobody quite sure what the situation was going to be, including me, I'm afraid. I'm not receiving communication from race control. But as I sort of anticipated might happen, for safety reasons, giving everybody the chance to change their tyres. And that means the drivers who are in the pit lane now should be released from the pits to go around and take up their place on the grid, because everybody else has been given a free tyre change. Not sure whether the rules actually allow that, but logically you would say they really ought to. However, logic and rules, as we know in all sport, and particularly in motor racing, not necessarily the nearest of bedfellows. So start delayed, and no indication yet as to how long it will be. We should get warning that there will be a 15-minute countdown to the start, and that will not happen until all the tyre changing has been done. So did those who went for safety and came into the pit road, do they automatically have no chance now of competing? Are they not allowed out of the pit lane? Woo! Yeah, no kidding. Well, you know, a lot of the Citroën Sport mechanics came from World Rallying, are going back to World Rallying, so they're used to working hard in miserable conditions.
Ok, pour voir la répartition, pour voir les barres de départ, on monte les longs, quoi d'autre? On est surtout, on passe en full, puis on déconnecte la barre, on baisse la précharge, on change les parcs limitation, on remet les longs en 14, et on vient de régler la répartition.
All right, well, one of the things they were talking about doing there was disconnecting the rear bar. And what that does is it allows the car to roll a little more at the back. Look how hard it's raining just at the bottom of the shot there, and that is coming our way as well. And that softens the car up. Yvan was saying earlier on they've gone for a full dry setup because you have to, because if you gamble on it raining and it doesn't rain, frankly, you may as well just leave the car in the pit lane because it's going to be so undrivable. They're going to give him a little bit more wing. They're going to try and soften up the rear a bit, and probably they will change the preload on the electronic differential at the front of the car as well. So a bit more wing or a bit less wing. See which way they go. They're going up a hole or two or down a hole or two. So it's very tantalising to sort of have a view of what's going on and then cut away before you actually see what the changes are. 15-minute start procedure has begun. so we should have a start around 35 minutes after. Around 35 minutes after the hour. So it is currently 12:23 exactly, and in 12 minutes we will start. Now, with everybody on wet weather tyres, they have already driven this track in much wetter conditions. I don't see any need at the moment for a safety car start procedure. It's not wet, wet, wet. It's not zero visibility. You won't be navigating using a compass. See everybody having to work frantically now. There will be a standard dry setup on the wing and everything else. There'll be a standard wet setup. And now they're trying to get that done. So we'll pop back in a moment or two. Okay, so they're, well, as you can see there, Tom Coronel going with a barn door on the back of the car. Little change on the Lada. I think the Lada boys are very happy. Wet, rain or anything in between here. And this might give them an even greater chance in the opening race and a decent shot in the main race as well. But, well, is that coming our way? Hard to tell. Where's the flag? Let's hear from Pechito Lopez.
We are 12 minutes for the formation not start again. 12 minutes.
The sky is clearing again, I think.
Well, as we postulated before the start, if it starts with them on wet tyres and it goes dry, actually that's much better than starting on dry tyres and it going wet. Usually is, and on this track it especially is, because this amount of moisture, as you can see the track is dark, that's all it takes. That is no longer slick weather. Whether it stopped raining out the back or not doesn't really make that much difference, certainly not for the first half of the race. Later in the race, it might do, but then everybody's going to be in the same ball game, aren't they? Everybody's tyres going to be tight. That 10-minute board, pan up with the camera. Can't do that. Rob Huff's cleared off. And he's gone for a wet weather setup as well. So all sorts of different changes being made. Not quite sure what they're doing inside the car there. And Alex Legui is down with our pole sitter, Thiago Montero. Let's see what he thinks of this.
Well, all change, hey? Looked like things were going to be okay, and now very, very wet. How does that change things for you mentally, Thiago? I know that you're currently on the radio. Good to speak. How does this change things mentally for you?
Well, obviously very different than what we expected. You know, a minute ago it was sunny and everything dry, and just warming up the tires, and we get to corner 10, 11, and it was raining. So obviously a cloud of shower came up and changed a lot of things. We are now changing the setup of the car on the grid, changing tires, everything. It's not what we would have preferred, but that's the way it is. We have to deal with it.
Well, it's exactly as we suspected might be the case, that the cars are going to have to deal with very changeable conditions here. There's a little bit of blue, that's over to the east of us. That's not coming our way, I'm afraid. A little further look over to the west. And over there, look, on the left-hand side of your screen, heavy rain, that's coming our way. Ted Björk's Volvo just getting ready to be released to the end of the pit lane, as we are some 5 minutes and less now away from restarting or getting the start procedure again underway. The race never actually got started. It was delayed, start delayed on the formation lap. There's Hugo Valente's engineer Arnaud. Well, hardy crowd. Some of these guys in shirt sleeves. That may be a little ambitious, I think. Let's hear from our race 2 pole sitter, Nicky Katzberg.
Yeah, if the rain keeps coming and race 2 is going to be wet, yeah, I'll definitely go straight to the other bar. Okay? Copy. But look to your left and tell me what you see. Okay, so yeah, it could be very interesting. Could be very interesting. Let's see what happens.
Great British understatement. So it's either scorching sunshine coming, which is burning the crops in the field, or there is a thunderstorm on the way that is battering them, and possibly both. I've seen worse, which is the English for I've never seen weather like this. Could be very interesting. Well, our safety car driver Bruno Correa just going out for a final lap. He'll report back to our race director Mirek Bartos just to say that the track is safe to release the field. There's really not enough water that it would demand a safety car start. So we should go around for a final formation lap and then come back to the grid for the start as expected. So the Polestar Volvo, which is our safety car for the season. So no safety car, we gather, for the start, which, I mean, the weather is showing us that. You can see there as he comes through turn 11 and 12, and then 13 and 14 onto the back straight. It is understeery, it is wet. There is spray, that much we know is going to happen, because it did rain quite heavily over there. Don't need to water the skid pan in the background, do you? It's done it itself. But certainly no need for a safety car start. Visibility won't be brilliant, but on the other hand, it won't be chronic either. So who went well in the wet? Well, the Ladas went well in the wet. The Hondas really went badly in the rain. They had been very good in the dry. They've been very good in mixed conditions as well, so this might not be too bad for them. But when it really rained, they suddenly just went completely off the boil. Couldn't get tyre temperature or something, I don't know. That was certainly Citroen's problem, but hard to see exactly why they went so dramatically off when the Hondas had been the fastest cars pretty much in every session. Nicky Katzberg getting in amongst them, and the Ladas chasing them hard in the dry and in the mixed conditions. But for Thiago Monteiro, he can't dry up fast enough, I think, perhaps. Mehdi Banani alongside with the inside line down to the first corner is going to have to make a really good start, because the sweep around the outside for Thiago is the line you really want. And for Nicky Katzberg, 10th on this opening race grid, uppermost in his mind will be surviving to start the main race from pole.
Everybody, now that we're on wet, no matter what happens, it's 99.99%. We keep going. Yeah, we'll lose too much time to do the pit stop and in on the slicks, if that makes sense. Okay? Yeah, that does. I understand.
Well, you can see it is still raining gently on the start line. And you know, there's not any day, I have to say, when I would swap positions with one of our TV cameramen. They're either soaked, frozen, or fried. There's just no happy medium when you're out there in all weathers. So God bless them, all our Russian colleagues this weekend. And also our Russian marshals and all the safety workers here. Like every other race circuit, we can't go racing without these volunteers. So thank you to all of them as well for coming out, and let's hope it's not too overexciting a weekend for them. Clearing the grid, we are inside the final 30 seconds before we roll off for the start. Gaps at the back for cars that went into the pit lane to change onto wet weather tyres when it rained on the formation lap. And I believe that they should be allowed to join the field as it goes past on this final formation lap. This could be really critical now. You see Jose Maria Lopez getting ready for the start procedure. Can't really do a full bore launch until the row in front has started to move away, just in case they don't. But a lot of these drivers will be trying to gauge now what they're going to do in 3 minutes when the actual race starts. What traction there is or isn't, how much revs they can or can't use. Pit exit. You can see Ferenc Fischer, you can see Fredrik Ekblom, you can see Gregoire de Moustier. I'm sure Ted Björk will join them. Well, we heard from Norby on the dry formation lap. What does he think now?
So hello again everyone, long time no see. We had to delay the start, which gave us the opportunity to switch to wet tires. I assume everyone did the change because the track now is completely wet, very slippery. We now try to do our best to get everything up to temperature, which is not too easy. But like I said before, I think you will have a great show. We will do our best, and hold your fingers crossed for me. See you.
You see, you can tell when somebody speaks a foreign language well by the phrases they use. Hello, everybody, long time no see. That's great English. That's just, and that's a great mark of how comfortable and relaxed Norby is feeling in the car. And you think he should be absolutely, you know, focused and so intense, but it's just the opposite. If you are too intense, you'll be too tight and you'll overdrive the car, you'll fight it. You've got to make the car do the work. You've got to be relaxed. You know, with all the adrenaline pumping at the speed they're doing, they still have to be relaxed. And how on earth you do that, I can't tell you, because I can't do it. But somehow these guys can. It's all about processor speed. It's all about how quick your brain works. It's mental. This is mental in every sense of the word. But now they're trying hard to keep what heat the tyre warmers put into the car. Of course, they've been out of tyre warmers for 5 minutes. They've been on the track. Track is cold, track is wet, and that is sucking the temperature out of the tyre, as it would do when you walk across a cold stone floor. It feels cold because the stone is taking heat out of the soles of your feet. That's what it's doing to the tyres. So our pit lane starters were not released onto the back of the safety car queue, now onto the back of the formation lap. Now, I'm surprised at that. That would have been the ideal opportunity to level the playing field out and allow them to start from the pit, not from the pit lane, but from their grid spots. However, since they are 3 of the final 4 cars, or 4 of the final 5 cars on the grid, yeah, okay, maybe that's neither here nor there. However, there's got to be better ways of doing these things, haven't there? So there is Nicky Katzberg's engineer watching intently. Katzberg pulls over on the right-hand side, second of those yellow Lada Vestas. On the left-hand side of your screen, Thiago Monteiro, our pole sitter. On the right-hand side, Dave counting him into his grid box. On the right-hand side of your screen, Mehdi Benani. Now he and Tom Coronel are arrowed in towards the driver's right. Look behind, that's Norbert Michelitz looking to go down the inside into turn 1. Red lights are on, we're ready for the opening race in Moscow. They change very quickly, away we go. Good even start from the front row men. Here comes Muller, watch Tarquini in the middle. He's outstarted the other 2 Ladas. He's tucking in behind. Lopez trying to go around the outside of Rob Huff. Thiago Monteiro has the lead. Ivan Muller second, Mehdi Benani third, and Lopez will take 4th on the inside from Coronel, who can't hold it there, but down into turn 3, Coronel takes it back. And there goes the number 2 Lada as well of Gabriele Tarquini. He's inside Lopez. Next corner's a left, but Lopez will lose out on the outside. Coronel drifts out wide. There's a little bit of contact. Lopez is still there in 4th place. Coronel hasn't got the grip. Lopez goes wide. Inside goes Tarquini. There's a touch. Lopez still hangs on, and that's why he's our championship leader. And that's why he's won 2 world titles in a row, because he is such a good racer. Disappointing start from James Thompson, dropped way back down the order from 7th on the grid. And Ivan Muller looking down the inside and goes by for the lead. So the Citroën, which struggled in the dry, didn't do well in the wet. However, the Honda was shocking in the wet, and contact there with Mehdi Benani. The Moroccan driver keeps his foot in, and the front wheels drag the car back into line. Here comes Lopez, here come the Ladas. Monteiro is being swallowed alive here. Michelitz is struggling, Huff is struggling, Norby's off. The 2 Ladas have both gone through on the inside. Huffy is behind as well. There is Monteiro desperately trying to cling on as Muller, Benani and Lopez go away, followed by the Lada of Gabriele Tarquini, who started 9th on the grid. 4th on the inside of Monteiro, and Gabriele's got the line. Thiago can't hold on to that and has to give it up under braking immediately. Wow, what a change around in the opening lap. Citroën have been nowhere pretty much all weekend, and suddenly they're 1, 2, 3. And Ivan is going away from Benani fast. Well, Ivan said they go with a full dry setup. We heard on the grid they're changing that, changing the rear bar. I'm sure they've changed differential preloads at the front, all the different electronic mapping. And Thiago is now the stopper in the bottle in that Honda. Coronel trying to get through. Alongside him, number 10, Nicky Katzberg. And right behind Katzberg is Ugo Valente, car number 7. And look how slow they're going through corner 3. Really tippy-toey stuff. Nobody's got any grip. Nobody's got any traction. And the Hondas seem worst of all. Again, a little rub between Katzberg and Coronel. Nicky cannot afford to get involved in a shoving match here. The two Dutchmen will sort this out amicably. Coronel doesn't want to give up. He's got a good car under him. He's got the inside line. Katzberg has to let him go. Nicky looked to cut back to the inside there. Not quite enough room between 9 and 10. Muller, Bernani and Lopez going away. Tarquini with them. Montero at the moment just in front of the Dutch battle between the yellow car of Coronel and the yellow car of Katzberg. On board with Nicky. Tom drifts out wide. Nicky's got better traction. Lada's got great traction in mixed conditions. What it lacks against the Citroën on some other circuits, and we'll see that in places like Shanghai, is top-end speed. Oh, big slide from Lopez. Right behind is Tarquini, he's going for 3rd. Gabrielli disappointed a little not to get pole yesterday. He said, look, you know, I've been working with these guys, with Nicky and with Ugo. Maybe I'm a good teacher. Maybe Nicky is a great student, but whatever. So happy for the team to get a top 3, but sure he would like to have been on pole. If he can get on the podium, he'll be very happy indeed. And he's all over Lopez, runs into the back of him. That's how good the Lada's traction is. The Citroën is not a bad car in any conditions, but in these conditions, the Ladas are flying. Tarquini up to 3rd, Lopez down to 4th. Goodness me. There is Lopez under pressure from Montero now. So have the Honda tyres now come up to temperature? Is that the Honda's issue? Is that what the problem was in qualifying? Not enough laps to get them up to temperature and still have grip left. In the race, it's less of an issue. It's not about one lap performance. Still Montero struggling though. Katzberg has got by the Chevrolet of Tom Coronel with that black bonnet. I was going to say yellow with the black roof, but then so are the Ladas. Katzberg all over the back of Montero. The Ladas sense there is a chance to get on the podium. For those of you that hadn't already spotted it before me, race distance has been cut by a lap to 15 because we had an extra formation lap. Katzberg around the outside. Hang on there, Nicky, hang on. Oh my goodness, drives around Montero. And Montero didn't give that corner up. He defended there. He gave everything the Honda's got to give. How dispiriting is that? Just don't want to hear Montero's radio going, guys, they're just driving around the outside of me, and up the inside goes Valente. And that's Valente's view. He's gone straight by Montero. No pleases or thank yous, just straight by. It's raining a little more heavily now as they come out of corner 14. Fastest race lap last time round from Ivan Muller. Gabriele Tarquini, purple first sector, purple second sector. Tarquini just goes out of shot. Streaming by Montero now go Valente and Coronel. And Norby's got more grip than our DHL pole sitter. Look how close they have to get under braking. When you hear the wheel spin there. And Tarquini's up to 2nd. He's got by Bernani and set the fastest race lap. A 1:59.11. 800s faster than Ivan Muller. So Tarquini in 2nd, Bernani in 3rd. Ivan Muller leads. Ivan Muller has now got 11 laps, including this one, to hold off Tarquini and prevent Lada winning the opening race here. Ooh, Coronel drifting very wide. Michelit's up the inside. Coronel on the grass. He does a lot of drift racing in Holland with brother Tim, and that serves him well there. Keeps his foot in, but he lost ground. Norby went by, Huffy went by. So Coronel's car struggling here. He's not the only one. John Philippi up to 11th, ahead of James Thompson in their Chevrolets. Coronel, the best of the Chevys, now down to 10th. Start of Norbert Michelis, and who's car 9? Tom Coronel under investigation, which presumably means they will both be pinged for a jump start, which is just what they both need because they're already struggling anyway. Or maybe they didn't have their cars in the right grid box, or maybe they didn't have their wheels on the ground at the 5-minute board, whatever. Nicky Katzberg, the main race pole sitter, trying to get around Jose Maria Lopez. And Lopez knows that Katzberg has got a lot riding on this to get by safely. You heard the wheel spin from the Citroen, and then you saw suddenly that as you heard that noise from Lopez Citroen, the Lada just leapt forward. But again, the Citroen, wing trimmed out, good straight line speed. Lopez with the inside line, has to brake earlier. Katzberg's going around the outside. This is to move up into 4th place, and he's done him. No, he hasn't done him. So Tarquini is right with Muller. End of lap 4, 11 to go. And Muller leads across the line by 8/10, now by, that's about 0.27 rather, 0.3 of a second. Tarquini is right with Ivan Muller. These two old friends, teammates, rivals and champions battling for the lead here in Moscow. Battle for 3rd place. Bernani can't hold the line. Lopez with Katzberg inside, and Nicky's got through this time. Yes, he has. He's up to 4th, ahead of the world champion. Well, Katzberg doesn't want Tarquini to be on his own on the podium. Nicky Katzberg now up to 4th. Ugo Valente is the next yellow car, hoving up in the mirrors of Jose Maria Lopez. There are not many races when you're a Citroen driver and cars are coming up behind you and threatening to drive around the outside. If you can name another race where that's happened, I'll be very grateful, thank you, because I can't think of one in any conditions where the Citroen has been out-handled, out-driven by another chassis. Tarquini all over the back of Ivan Muller. He caught him so quickly, he's got grip to spare. His last lap, by the way, 1.3 seconds better than Ivan's. Katzberg has got by Lopez at the beginning of this lap, and he now is going by Bernani towards the end of this lap, around the outside. Bernani has to give away, and Tarquini takes the lead. And the crowd will be on their feet. Little ripple of applause because it's not over yet in the Lada garage. But this is what we need to see. This is what we want. We want different cars performing better than others at different tracks. And if this is the only track where the Lada is the #1 car, then so be it. Look further back, Tom Chilton, and then our pit lane starters, Grégoire de Moustier, Frédéric Ekblom, Ted Björk and Ferenc Fischer further behind them. Some of these Citroens are really struggling for grip. And some of them are really struggling for grip. Lopez behind Bernani. Can he get in front of the Moroccan driver? Do you know what, in the end, if the best that Lopez can pick up out of these races is points in 6th position, it's going to dent his championship chances, not one iota. His closest rival is immediately in front, that's Mehdi Bernani. His next closest rival, Thiago Monteiro, is already 3 cars behind. When you come into race weekend boasting a 94-point championship advantage, do you know what? It's not so bad. Of course he's a racing driver, of course he wants to make the best of his car, of course he wants his car to be better, of course he doesn't want anybody to drive around him, but he's going to be handed no, he's not going to be handed a place. Drive-throughs have been awarded to Norbert Michelitz and Tom Coronel. They were not in their grid boxes in the correct position. They may as well come and park the cars, because once they've done a drive-through, they're getting nowhere. The Lada team watching intently. Gabriele Tarquini leads. Nicky Katzberg in 2nd, setting the fastest race lap behind him. In 3rd, rather, and in 6th position is Ugo Valente. Look on the right of your screen, right-hand queue. Norby was definitely out of line. Tom Coronel to the left-hand side of Bernani, not inside the white lines of the grid box. There you go. Norby very clearly not in his grid box, and Coronel just in front of him. also. See how much wheel spin Ugo Valente got there. Whoa! Didn't see that in the first corner. Nicky Katzberg running into the back of his teammate as everybody got bunched up. So meanwhile, number 7, Ugo Valente, the yellow Lada, all over the battle of the Citroens. Bernani, Lopez closes the door. This is for 4th and 5th. And they are now all over the back of sunshine here. Bernani and Lopez. Lopez sends it up the inside. That's 9 to 10, and that's an opening there for Valente, and he's through. Bernani had to roll off the throttle to allow Lopez to survive, to allow them both to survive that corner. Lopez threw it up the inside. Bernani had left the door open a crack and paid the price, lost 2 places. So Lopez went by Bernani, so too did Valente. Michelitz with a drive-through, and that'll move Montero and Huff from 8th and 9th up to 7th and 8th. And Coronel with a drive-through will move James Thompson up to 10th. So Valente, the last of the Ladas to carve his way through the field. Incident involving Pichito and Tarquini will be investigated after the races. Well, no cause to answer there. Gabrielli came out of the corner and Pichito just had rampant wheel spin and Tarquini didn't. He couldn't avoid driving into the back of him. He didn't turn him around. Nobody lost a position as a result. No harm, no foul. Tarquini leads, Muller in second, now 4 seconds away and struggling even to get it to turn into turn 1. Katzberg third, Lopez in 4th, Valente in 5th. Halfway through the race, 7 down, this one and 7 more to go. So as they crest the rise at turn 9, we'll be halfway exactly through the race, and look at the Citroen. And that is such good news, even when your car is understeering a little, to see the Citroen in front of you, drifting around, sliding about all over the place. You just know you're going to have him. Coronel in front of Thompson, and I'm sure James's engineer Marco Calovolo is saying, don't worry about Coronel, he's got a drive through, he has to come in one more lap. And Jimmy T won't put the car at risk to get by a car that's going to surrender the position anyway. Tom will stay out there to learn as much as he can about the car until he has to come in, so too will Norby. In fact, Norby has been in and out of the pit, so Norby has rejoined. And here's Katzberg. Muller can't hold a line. It's not him. It's something in the setup of the car. It's just not holding. Now, there's some very black clouds behind. At the moment, it's sunny. It's starting to get less wet on the track as Katzberg drafts up alongside. Muller's got the speed. Katzberg's got the inside line and the better grip under braking, because Muller will be over towards the racing line. Muller's trying to make space for himself to get off the racing line. Can't. Nicky Katzberg takes it away. It's candy from a baby. Lada 1-2. Come on, Russian fans. Now, I don't know how much they were doing a rain dance yesterday. Ivan Muller goes back in front of him as behind Lopez leads Valente. Tarquini is scarpered, now 6 seconds clear of Muller. And Katzberg has had more pace than Tarquini all weekend. He needs to get a run on Ivan, and he needs to do it soon. Fastest final sector of the lap. Last time round, Norbert Michelitz in the Honda. Hello, what's that about? How's he done that? Katzberg turns inside Muller. Inside, inside, inside. Not there. The road does not favour the driver on the inside very many times here. Too many twists and turns that flip-flops back around itself. 3, 4, 5, corner 6, 7. And then over the brow here, 9 into 10. Oh! And there is Valente. He's got by Lopez. Lopez, again, not giving it up. It looks like Lopez is the man who's caught the car in front to try and get by. He's just trying to limit the damage. Well, and here comes Katzberg, down the inside of Muller. Look at that, on the racing line, 2 wheels on the curb, and still more traction than the Citroen can muster, offline where there should theoretically be more grip. Right, Katzberg now, a la Sammy Davis in the cannonball run, ripping off the rear view mirror. We don't need that, we're only looking in front of us. Katzberg has dealt with Muller. He is in second place. It is a Lada 1-2, and it is a Lada 1-2-4. Now, let's do some arithmetic. Tarquini was 5.9 in front of this battle. Lopez was 7 seconds back, and Valente was right with him. So, Lopez and Valente were 7 seconds behind Muller. And that means that Valente has got 7 laps to catch 7 seconds on Muller. Replay there of just how little Lopez wanted to let him by. And why would he? He's a racing driver. So Katzberg has dealt with Ivan. Ivan now has, what are we on? We've done 9 laps, we're on 10, so there are 6 to go. And Ivan at the line was 8.6 ahead of Valente. Valente's last lap was a 2:0. Ivan's a 1:59.9, but don't forget Valente was battling with Lopez on that lap. So we need to see what Ugo's first clear lap in traffic is, or out of traffic is, see whether he is going to be able to catch Ivan. Look at the Hondas now, starting to come back into this. Norby is finding a bit of pace, a little bit too much into turn 1. Catching John Philippi. And that is for 10th place, so Norby taking his drive-through early, instead of parking it, which is I suggested. He's trying to fight into the points. Katzberg in second. You saw your leader, Gabriele Tarquini. It's not the evolution between them. We now need to have a watch on Muller versus Valente for the final podium spot. Don't forget now, this is the opening race of 2. In the main race, which follows immediately, Lada start 1, 2, 3. All they need is another shower of rain. Tom Coronel chasing Tom Chilton. How often do these two spend their season racing each other? Fredrik Ekblom is right with them. Chilton struggling in the Citroen. Coronel not so much in the Chevrolet, but of course he's had to do a drive-through. Ted Björk in the pits, incidentally. Quite sure why. Black and white flag for Pechito for unsafe rejoining of the track. Let's hear from Ivan.
C'est combien l'écart avec le poursuivant? Il y a, avec Valente qui vient de passer José, 8 secondes 6, il reste 6 tours, 8 secondes de 6.
Okay, so he was asking, what's my gap? And the engineer said, to who? To Valente, 8 seconds, and to Lopez, it's another 2 seconds. But 8.6 it was, in fact it was 8.4 last time round, Ivan over, in fact it wasn't 6 Ivan over Valente. So the gap is coming down as Coronel goes by Chilton and Ekblom goes past Chilton. So Volvo managed to find a little bit more traction. It's as though they have. The Volvo is looking really quite a comfortable car in dry conditions, not so much in mixed. And now look at this. Bernani, who don't forget, rocketed away at the start from second on the grid, being caught and passed by Montero. Huff is coming, Thompson is coming. So as the track is starting to go to very intermediate, the Honda is starting to find a grip again. Is it a tyre temperature thing in the wettest of the conditions? Is the car just too kind to its tyres to build up heat or retain heat? And if it is, do they need to be ultra aggressive somewhere in their wheel angles to try and keep that heat in the body of the tyre? Because when it got wet here in qualifying, suddenly they were nowhere, and so it was that started the race. Gabriele Tarquini leading by 8 seconds. Nicky Katzberg in second has just set a purple middle sector. And that's the one they've just exited. Ivan Muller was 2.3 seconds behind Katzberg. Now the worry for him as Michelitz goes by Philippi for a top 10 spot and a point. The worry for Muller is how far away is Valente. Huff goes inside Bernani, and Thompson tries to follow through, hasn't got the traction on the exit. Katzberg fastest race lap, a 57.32. Tarquini's just on a 57.36. Muller a 58.7. Valente a 58.4. Valente needs to find another second now. It's like Hugo was saying in qualifying. In Q2, his teammates were first and second. He was down somewhere like 11th. And the team basically said to him, Hugo, come on, the cars are first and second. Just get on with it. Pull your finger out, son. And he did. And now he needs to do so again. Thompson trying to come around Bernani. Outside to inside to outside. Now if he stays there, Bernani tries to fight back, but Tomo had the inside line. Had to clear himself a bit of room to negotiate that tyre stack. Had to move across. And Bernani just a little contact there. And again, Rubbins Racing, no harm, no foul. So Thompson up to 8th, Bernani down to 9th. Don't forget, started second, was second on the opening lap. So quite the fall from grace from the Citroens that were 1, 2, 3 away from the start. Montero back up to 6th position at the moment. There are your leaders. Tarquini hunting the wet. Yes, come on, I know, Victor, I know. Come on, just breathe, everybody, breathe. Don't forget the football, it was all good in the end. Thompson ahead of Bernani, so he's now moved up to 8th. Mehdi is down to 9th, as we said. Gabriele Tarquini leads by how much over Nicky Katzberg? Tarquini 57.36, Katzberg 57.32, so they both eased off a little from their previous lap pace. Still 7.3 seconds. Muller still third. Oh, but the gap's little. Muller third, 5.4 behind, but still no, 7.8. Hugo Valente's taken 3/10 out of him. That's not enough. Valente may not have enough tyre left to catch Ivan. 5th is Lopez, 6th is Montero, 7th there is car number 12, Rob Huff. And James Thompson is now the top independent point scorer in 8th place. Bernani is second in the independents, but for him, his closest rival, Tom Chilton, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and struggling. Coronel is 4th in the independents. John Philippi, in fact, is the 3rd independent driver. And Philippi in the dry here and in the mixed conditions in free practice was very quick. He was top 8. Philippi's got pace in that Campos Racing Chevrolet. Coronel versus Ekblom. And conditions are coming to the Volvo as well as the Chevy. I think Ekblom's got the quicker car here, actually. He's just set his own fastest race lap, a 58.9. Tom did a 59.8. So Ekblom is now going to be dictated by the pace of Coronel, and more water on the camera lens, and that's not spray from the cars. So the rain is returning. Is it? Oh, Coronel, big slide. Let's hear from Katzberg in second.
Pace is okay? Yeah, pace is okay, but look at tyres well. The track's dry, be careful with tyres.
Nicky Katzberg, purple first sector on this lap. So fastest of all on this lap. Lap 13 of 15. Gabriele Tarquini, the race leader, starts lap 14. Okay, so he wasn't on pole yesterday. Will he take as compensation winning this race for Lada? I don't know. What do you reckon? I think yes, probably he will. Katzberg, fastest race lap, 57.08. Tarquini, the leader, 57.36. Valente, a 58.49. It is raining again where it rained earlier on, out the back of the circuit. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ferenc Fischer now in the Zengo Motorsport Honda, trying to duff up Gregoire de Moustier. And Fischer was really on form as well in the dry in the Honda and in mixed conditions, when de Moustier and all his fellow Citroen drivers were struggling. See, de Moustier's got the wipers on fast. Fischer's driving around the outside of him. Cautious not to go too far over the white line. Turn 15, like turn 1 here, one of those where track limits will be rigorously applied. Between turns 9 and 10, and exit the corner 14 onto the back straight. Those are the other two main areas. So Jose Maria Lopez, let's bring you up to speed with him. And the Citroen there, he's in 5th, Montero in 6th, Huff in 7th, Thompson in 8th. And the Hondas really can't afford for it to get any damper. This rain returning is bad news for them. I think they've dropped off Lopez, haven't they? His last lap of 59.2, there's 58.7 and 58.6 for Montero and Huff. Huff in danger there as skating into the back of Thiago. And behind them, Jimmy T at 58.2. So as quick as Lopez and coming in behind. This rain here might save Lopez. The Citroen not great. It was better when it was very wet. The Honda was worse when it was very wet. And for the Lada, all three Ladas, a bit of rain on the final lap. That will only help to cool the tyres and mitigate against any possible problems. Oh my goodness. Not much breathing going on the pit wall, is there? Come on, guys. Trust Gabriele, trust Nicky, trust Ugo. Ugo's still in fourth. And there is the battle for fifth. Lopez. And the gap has come down. It's under a second, Montero to Lopez. Huff's with him. Are they going to get close enough, or are they going to run into the rain when they get close enough? And Rob is almost in a position to try and pass Thiago. Can't do it there. Don't think Thompson's going to be a factor. And I'm not sure they're going to be close enough to Lopez. I think it is now gone, or it is heading in the wrong direction for the Hondas. Ferenc Fischer past Gregoire de Moustier. So Fischer up to 15th. So he picks up more points in the chase for the Independence title. Tarquini leads halfway round the lap from Katzberg. Lada 1-2. Ivan Muller, the only man ruining the Lada clean sweep of the podium at the moment, started the lap 7 seconds in front of Valente. So unless Ivan throws it off extravagantly, comprehensively and inexplicably, then he will finish on the podium unaccountably in a race in which everybody's fortunes have been up and down like the Assyrian Empire. Gabriele Tarquini leads Nicky Katzberg. It will be a Lada 1-2. Lada winning the opening race here in Moscow. Lada first, Lada second in the races of Moscow, sponsored by their sponsor Rosneft. So a huge celebration from the Russian team, a huge celebration from the Russian crowd as well opposite. Well, that was worth coming out in the rain for. 1, 2, 3 in qualifying, 1, 2 in the race. Ivan Muller crosses the line in third. Ugo Valente fourth for Lada. And then fifth will be Jose Maria Lopez, ahead of Thiago Montero and Rob Huff, not quite drag racing him to the line. James Thompson 8th, Mehdi Banani in 9th, second in the Yokohama points. And 10th place should go to Norbert Michelis. Well, some happy Russian fans, and rightly so. 1-2 result for the Russian team. That is a huge start, because don't forget, the three Ladas started 8th, 9th and 10th on the grid. Gabriele came from 9th to win it. Katzberg from 10th to 2nd. And Valente, who had the least good deal in the traffic, came from 8th to 4th.
Amazing, mate, amazing. P1, P2, amazing.
Congratulations, guys. This is fully deserved. Amazing job. Amazing job, and I'm really happy for Gabriela. If someone deserves to take the win, it's him. Congrats, guys, congrats.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, you're right, Gabriele. He totally deserves this, totally deserves this. Hugo P4.
Gabriele Tarquini comes of age. It is win number 21 in the FIA World Touring Car career of the Italian. And he has raced with us every season since 2005 in Worlds. Nicky Katzberg here, getting by Ivan Muller for that second place. Ivan finishing on the podium in third spot. Lots of yellow in the stands and lots of yellow in the winner's box. The damaged car is that of our race winner, Gabriele Tarquini. He wins the opening race in Moscow.
This is proving to be such a great weekend. Home ground victory once again. Gabriele, P9 to P1, that was not expected.
Yeah, after a great start, I think it was the key of the win. I keep pushing for the initial part of the race. I was much faster than the guy in front of me. I used all my effort to do overtaking and whatever, and fortunately, when I overtook Ivan, I had a big gap, so I can manage the last part of the race, but it's a great day. I mean, to win, come back to the victory after 1 year. Last year I never won. With Lada in the Russian, so our home race is fantastic. I mean, it's a...
Congratulations. You really
it's
deserve
fantastic.
this.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good job.
Yeah, sometimes the teacher can beat the student.
Exactly.
All smiles all round. Well done.
And again, he said after qualifying, you know, maybe I'm too good a teacher, maybe Nicky Katzberger is too good a student, he beat me to pole. And there you go, sometimes the teacher still has a few old tricks to teach the student. Well, victory for Lada, it was hard fought. And you know, if you are handed an opportunity, you have to take it. Damage at the front, that was where he ran into the back of, was it Katzberg's car? Whatever. No dramas there at the start of the race. And I don't think the incident with Gabriele and Pachito Lopez is going to be a problem either. Maybe that was with the back of Pachito's car. It was a little bit of a biff, but certainly it wasn't a push to pass in any way, shape or form. And Lopez has extended his championship advantage. Of course he has, because that's what he does, over Mehdi Benani, Mehdi finishing in 9th and Pachito in 5th. So he is now over a ton clear. Well, rain sweeping across the Moscow Raceway once more. And Gabriele Tarquini won't have long to wait before he gets a chance to go and line up on the front row of the grid for the main race. And that very familiar helmet livery has changed a little over the years, hasn't he? Oh, selfies are us, why not?
There's no one for this fight, so it's so nice to watch, to be honest.
Viktor Shapovalov on the right.
Nice race.
Gabriele Tarquini in the centre, Nicky Katzberg on the left.
Yeah, but after you lost something on the fighting, I think.
No, I was in the beginning. I was a bit careful.
Well, Nicky's saying he was a bit careful at the beginning. Of course he was, because he's starting the second of our races here from pole position. Ivan saying it wasn't the car, it was an exceptional driver. Well, you know, that's a little show of the mark of respect between Ivan Muller and Gabriele Tarquini. They've raced each other for many, many years and hope to be doing so as well for many, many years. Ivan didn't join the championship till 2006. Since then, he and Gabriele have shared a lot of racetracks, a lot of podiums, and a lot of fun times together. Second place, ahead of Ivan Muller, Nicky Katzberg. But our race winner coming onto a podium in driving rain, which is a great portent for race 2 for Lada, is Gabriele Tarquini. Refueling starts in a minute and a half. Quick turnaround to get the cars back out onto the grid for our main race here.
Winning team, Lada, is
So Victor onto the podium with a race win for the first time.